Preston Jackson, Big County Preps, here to break down the Jefferson vs. Tampa Bay Tech game. Tech comes out triumphant 25-20 over the Dragon in a heavyweight battle with all the makings going into the ball game and then all the toppings coming out. Had the drama, had the big time players, had the big plays being made, had the left plays on the field, still on the field. Now let's break down this ball game real quick. Before we start, I want to tell you that being around both of these programs over the years, this is probably the best coaching job out of both staffs that I have seen. It was absolutely fun to watch. It was really entertaining seeing the chess match back and forth between the coaching staff, seeing them both try and come out gun blazing, then dial back to going back to basics to what works, coming for 5 wides, and then going to 21 personnel, going to throwing the ball all over the field, then dialing it back to running it right down the gut. It was an A+ coaching job from top to bottom. Both teams well prepared, both coaching staffs well prepared, and this ball game had everything you wanted in it. Now, it looked early in the ball game Tampa Bay Tech was going to jump out and run away with this thing. They ended up with a 13-0 lead in the first quarter, and it looked like it could have got ugly. However, Jefferson stayed composed. They ended up putting some points on the board late in the second quarter, which made it a 13-7 ball game headed into the halftime. However, now even though it was 13-zip, Jefferson was still moving the ball. They were killing themselves when they got to about the 30-yard line, shooting themselves in the foot with self-inflicted errors that was stalling their drives. Tampa Bay Tech was fighting back. They bent but never broke. The defense didn't give up big plays. Jefferson was chucking away, chopping away. However, Tampa Bay Tech did not give it the big haymaker, which kept Jefferson out the end zone. If you can't score, you can't win. Now, when it got to the third quarter, the defenses were on full display. They were throwing haymakers. It was 3 and out on both sides of the ball. Neither team could really get a rhythm. But then Jefferson finally broke through it. 14-13 headed into the third quarter, and then an offensive explosion. And much of it had to do with Levi Jackson and then Anthony Payne from Tampa Bay Tech, and then Dontavian Smith and Terrell Jackson and Kay Weldon for Jefferson. Now, real quick, Tampa Bay Times writer Aaron Torres has stats for Penix and Weldon. You can go look at his article. He's got a good breakdown of late in the game for this ball game. He had Penix Jr. at 10 of 22, 206 passes, 3 TDs, and then Weldon 8 of 32 and a few TD passes himself. Now, for Cade's stats, they don't look pretty at all. 8 of 32. Now, those 8 completions, they were there. Those a lot of incompletions, a lot of that has to do with drops by his receivers. Now, he wasn't particularly on the money all night, but when he was on the money, his guys were putting the ball on the ground. So they need to share the blunt of the responsibilities for those statistics. Tampa Bay Tech's defense was really, really good. Quarterback Tyrese Pearson, underrated, did a really good job against Jermaine Eskers. Offside linebacker Carlos Burke was held off the edge. Linebacker Angela Owens was a beast in the middle. Defensive lineman Jonathan King and the rest of those guys up front harassed Weldon all night long. Jefferson defense, Tyrese Spain, he'll be one that you'll hear a lot about. Very quick, a very good cornerback. Jersey number 24, DeAndre Hollins, probably one of the best cornerbacks that we have not heard about. Very long, 6-foot kid. He's going to be a good one. Jabril Glaze, all what he's cracked up to be, had a really good night on the defensive line for Jefferson. On offense, Tampa Bay Tech, Jaquavion Johnson and Carlos Burke shared the responsibilities at running back. I believe there was one more. Please forgive me for omitting his name, but the stable of running backs for Tampa Bay Tech were very effective. Again, Levi Jackson and Anthony Payne were the biggest playmakers of the night for Tampa Bay Tech. Jefferson offensively, Kay Weldon made most of his plays with his legs. Terrell Jackson, Dontavian Smith were really good in space at the slot receivers for Jefferson. Nico Duffy, a young sophomore running back, really created a spark for Jefferson when they needed it out the backfield. What was interesting was when Jefferson really got going, they went to the 21 personnel, a fullback, halfback, 2 receivers, and tight ends, and they just ran basic leads, so a few counters, just basic offensive stuff, traps, and it worked. But that's good coaching. When you see something's not working, when you see Tampa Bay Tech is limiting you throughout the air, then you're going to try and push the team around on the ground. And that's kind of what happened. Jefferson found out what worked, and it really got their offense going. Same thing with Tampa Bay Tech. Michael Penix was a little rowdy, a little rattled early in the game. So what do? They start to move the pocket. They give him easy throws, easy out routes. They get him out the way of the rushing defensive line and bring his confidence up. They kept trying to go deep early in the ballgame. He was overshooting wide receivers by 5-10 yards and didn't look very good. But then that's the job of a coach. So we got to make our job easier for our players, for our playmakers. And Michael Penix Jr. fought through adversity, and he ended up making some really good really good plays late in the ball game for Tampa Bay Tech. Let's go to the big time players in the ball game, which is DeQuan Green and Jermaine Eskridge, the highest profile players on the field that night. DeQuan Green, they really could not get him going. Now that's not because of him; it was because he could not get the ball. He was open a number of times in one-on-one coverage, but because Penix was a little rattled, they could not necessarily get him the ball. So they dialed back, stretched the defense, bring him on some back routes, a few slants to get him going, get the ball in his hands, and then they progressed throughout once he started touching the ball more. Jermaine Eskridge, he was targeted plenty of times, but did not have his best game. A number of drops left on the field, a number of drops throughout the game, but he did make a big-time play that put Jefferson up 20-19, which could have been the game-winning touchdown. Called a slant. The defenders bumped into each other. He took it about 50-60 yards and put Jefferson up top. So he made a big play when his team needed it. Now the Dragons, as they sit 0-1, have 3 really good games coming forward. That's Plant City. They're home versus Plant City, home versus Sickle. Then they travel to Jesuit. So their next 3 ball games are going to be pretty tough. But if they can get past these 3 ball games, they'll be sitting pretty. Tampa Bay Tech will travel to Sickles next week. Then they're home versus Warden, and then they're at Bloomingdale. So Tampa Bay Tech with a favorable schedule looking forward. Both teams should improve tremendously, as statistics say that teams usually improve the most between game 1 and game 2. So good luck to the Dragons. Good luck to the Titans. Thank you for a great ball game, and we're out.